One of the questions that we often get asked is, how do people make their money with Pink? Right? And that's a legitimate question. Hey everyone out there, Michael Matthew with Pink TV. Excited to be joining y'all for another exciting episode today. We're in the FAQ, frequently asked questions segment of our brand new channel. Guys, if you like content like we've been delivering, go ahead and smash that like button below. That really helps out our algorithms with YouTube. We're trying to grow. We're trying to make people financially free out there right now. Of course, we're trying to bring people into our Pink family. We make no bones about that. We're going to be delivering additional testimonials, people all over the country, just like you that are out there watching right now, that are making money by following a very concise, blueprinted business model with coaching, training, support, and of course, a phenomenal brand, Little Pink Houses of America, wrapped around it. So thank you for joining us today. One of the questions that we often get asked is, how do people make their money with Pink? Right? And that's a legitimate question. So a number of different ways, and I'm not going to dive too deeply into this. So we're going to drop some links below. We've got what we call the matrix, if you will, and that's the 5 profit center profit sphere. So ultimately, there are 5 different profit centers in every deal that we do with us. So first and foremost, you're going to make the lion's share of your money in the form of an upfront, non-refundable down payment from the buyer. So our buyers are deep financially. It's non-refundable. It does glue them to the home based on our price points. And again, we'll drop a link about market-specific median home values. It's going to be different for everyone, depending on where you're at, depending on where you're watching from. But what we're looking for is about 5 to 10% down. Our minimum fee, and I don't care if you're in Timbuktu, we're not making less than 10 grand, period. I make a joke here and people laugh about it off. I'm not getting out of bed for a couple $1,000. I'm simply not. So $10,000 is our bare minimum. We want to make more than that on most every deal, of course. So we're going to take that, and the seller's going in eyes wide open as well. The buyer is getting full credit for that down payment, not only off the sale price. So let's say it's a $300,000 house, and let's say they simply put 10 grand down, which would be our minimum. They do have a financeable balance owed of $290. So dollar for dollar credit there. Also, when they do their settlement statement, the HUD one called a number of different things at the end of called a 12-month term or less, they're getting their permanent financing. There's a line item on that settlement statement called POC. It stands for paid outside of closing. So even if it's just our $10,000 fee, which the seller knows is our minimum, if that's all they have put down, that's going in the HIP National Bank. And the HIP National Bank means going in my pocket or going in yours. So let's be very clear about that. They understand that up front. They understand how we operate. We're not a nonprofit. We are a faith-based organization, I can promise you that, but there is not a steeple in our front yard. So we get out in front of that. We're very clear with that. That's going to be your first profit center, some form or fashion of that down payment. Now, if they've got $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 to put down, I can promise you we want more than 10. One of the things that we bring to the table is we actually negotiate with and for you on your behalf. So you do have a closing coordinator that is going to negotiate final terms and conditions between both buyer and seller to accomplish 2 goals. One, don't let anything fall through the cracks. Guys, this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where profits are made. And 2 is maximizing profit on every single deal, period. So we're going to help you with those 2 things. We're going to walk you through them. We're going to run point on those. In fact, you're going to be involved. You're going to have your finger on the pulse. So, you're not some mushroom in the dark on those type of deals. Obviously, your involvement is necessary because you've got the relationship there. 2 is we're going to require the first month's payment. So the seller, they're going to concede that first month's payment to us prior to the buyer moving in. So the buyer is going to be required to have a down payment. They're also going to be required to have their first month's payment. We're going to get as much of that down payment as possible. We're also going to take that first month's payment. That's really the seller's only skin in the game is that. And then profit center 3 is they actually concede the last month's payment to us as well. Listen, guys, maybe 1 out of 10 times they're going to balk at this, but for the most part, they understand they're not paying a real estate commission. They're giving up a first month's payment. They're giving up a last month's payment right before they're getting fully cashed out. If they balk, it's a bargaining chip. We'll talk through that in training. Number 4 is going to be monthly cash flow. So let's say here in Jacksonville, Florida, and we're going to use this illustration because this is our backyard where corporate is. We've got a $300,000 house. Let's say they've got a $1,500 monthly payment. Many sellers are simply okay with getting their monthly debt serviced, and or if they're free and clear, they know kind of what that benchmark looks like. They're going to continue to carry taxes, obviously insurance on that, but in many cases, we're able to carve out a monthly cash flow spread on your behalf. Now, this is not like a buy and hold where, it's a 5 or 10 years or however long you're making that monthly cash flow. 12 months or less is kind of our benchmark. Typically, folks are getting financed in less than 12 months. But if you have a $200 monthly cash flow position or a $300 monthly cash flow position, we always kind of use $200 as that monthly benchmark. If you can't make more than $200, is the juice worth the squeeze? We could argue that. We'll talk about that with you. Your coach will talk about that with you. But let's call it $200. Well, for 12 months, over that span of 12 months, you made an additional $2,400. Then you've got the 5th profit center, which is back-end equity. And that is going to be, and there's some technicalities here. I don't want to go too deep down this rabbit hole. This is something we certainly talk about during training, but we can always go back to that seller and make an offer. Look, we've got a buyer that's ready to cash out. We know their equity position because it's public record. So at that point, we know what they owe. We know where our buyer's at. We know that they're about to get permanent financing. And of course, we can go back and make a kind of secondary offer to that seller and carve out a back-end equity spread as well. So 5 different profit centers. We dive into all of them in training. If you like stuff like this, guys, if you're considering coming on board with us, please drop a like. That helps our algorithms out. If you're not a subscriber, please tell friends, family, and subscribe yourself. We're always looking for like-minded folks on here. And hit that bell notification. That's going to alert you every time we bring a new video out here on the brand new, we're super excited, if you cannot tell, PINK TV, guys. Our YouTube channel is going to be phenomenal. We're going to talk about all things PINK related. We're going to talk about non-traditional real estate investment strategies. It's going to be very diverse. We appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, make it a great day. Thank you.